There are many mysteries concerning the oboe. What is it supposed to sound like? What does an oboe look like? Why do people choose to play it? But I think the most prominent mysteries that most people have concern the oboe reed. Oboists make their reeds, and in the words of Dr. Owens, all professionals make their reeds. And in college, usually when we get here, we do not know how to make reeds, but our teachers teach us, and Dr. T, the oboe professor at CSU, has been training me on how to make reeds. And so today, I hope as I go through the process of making reeds that some of the mysteries will be debunked and you'll have a better understanding of oboists. So first, we start with a piece of tube cane. You see it is cylindrical and hard. It's straight out of the ground and they process it and then they ship it here. Usually it is from France. We take this splitter and it has 3 razor blades on the inside. We put the piece of tube on the splitter and then we hit the piece of the tube to then split it into 3 pieces. After we split it into 3 pieces, we look at them and decide what a good piece looks like. And normally they are fairly straight and they are equal width all the way down. As long as we didn't twist the cane when we put it through the splitter, it should come out fairly straight. So after that, we take one piece and we take this guillotine. And guillotine, you know, like in France, long time ago, they would chop off people's heads. Well, the guillotine for us, we put the piece of cane that we just split into thirds, and we put it in there, we hold it, and then we chop off the extra. The guillotine is meant for, it cuts it to the proper length before we use the gouger. And those are in the words of Dr. Weber. The gouger takes the piece of cane, and it makes it thinner so that then we can soak it in water for 20 minutes. And after we soak it for 20 minutes, then we take a shaper. And we take this little piece, we fold it in half over the shaper. And then the shaper is shaped like a V, sort of, and we take razor blades and shave the excess of this piece off. And after we do that, it's much thinner, and we can fold it over the staple. Now the staple is the little bitty piece of cork that we put inside of the oboe once we've completed our reed. So we take the shaped cane now, and we have to soak it for 20 more minutes so that it doesn't crack. We fold it over the staple, and then we take our string. It's FF strength, and we can use any color you want, but you cannot use yellow because yellow never ever makes good reeds. And that's Dr. T speaking. I've never tried because I don't want to risk it. So we tie the cane onto the staple, and after we do that, we cut off the excess thread, and we have a reed. And since we folded the straight part in half, the top is still closed, so it's not going to vibrate at all because it's not open yet. So then this begins the 4-day process of scraping a reed. So once we've split the tube into thirds, we've guillotined it to cut it to the proper length, we've gouged it to make it thinner, and we've shaped it to make it the proper shape, and then we tied it onto the staple. Now begins the process. So day 1 is tying and scraping the tip. The tip of the reed is this part right here. So in day 1, we only scrape from here to here. And that's all. Day 1's pretty easy. Day 2, though, we begin and we start scraping long channels. So we start in the back of the reed and we go all the way to the top. And we do that many, many times on both sides of the reed. Then, day 3, we continue to scrape the tip so it's thinner and thinner, and we're going from corner right here out and away so that we get a gradual tip instead of immediately it being super thin, because that won't produce a good reed. So day 3, we continue doing that. We keep scraping these more and more so they get deeper and deeper on both sides of the reed. Right here in the middle is what we call the spine. And just like in humans, we need a spine to function correctly. And so reeds need spines also. So if we are scraping the back and stuff and we scrape out the spine, then our reed is not going to function correctly. So as you scrape on day 2, 3, and 4, you cannot get rid of the spine. You have to be very careful with your scraping. Also, there are rails on the sides of the reed. And just like rails on a bridge, they keep you safe. And if we take off the rails on a reed, it's not going to be safe and your reed is going to be bad. So in addition to avoiding the middle of the reed, we also have to avoid the edges of the reed. And it's easier said than done. It takes a lot of skill and meticulous practice to not take out the spine nor the rails. And then day 4, because day 3 we scrape the tip until it's thin enough to clip. And what we use are the wonderful razor blades. So we have the reed and the tip is finally thin enough to clip with the razor blade. So on day 4, we lay down the reed, take the razor blade, and just roll it across, and it opens the reed. And after it opens the reed, it should work. You should be able to blow into the reed, and it should crow. The crow normally should be a C in pitch, but if it's not, then day 4 and day 5 and for the rest of forever, you continue scraping the reed to make it in the C pitch and also so it'll play better. A good reed should have good response, a good dynamic range level, good pitch, and good vibrations. And that is from Dr. Light. And Dr. Light is a very awesome man who also says to never give up and to be patient with your reed making, because it's really hard and nobody's going to be perfect. I hope that my speech has been informative to you on making reeds and that you have a better appreciation for oboists and what they go through day by day as they make their own reeds. Thank you.